My son just recently turned 18. One of his birthday gifts was a book that asked the question, how many people does it take to make a difference? The answer is simple. It's one. It takes one person to make a difference, and the book walks through various concepts based on the power of one. It illustrates the beautiful fact that we all have the power to make a difference. The sad part is we don't always realize that. The reason we picked that particular book for him is because he, like many of us, needed a reminder of his power. You see, earlier in the year, he participated in a talk about what it was like to be a young Black man in America. In one of his responses to a question about how he copes, he expressed, "I'm not in a position and I don't have the power to do something right now. So I make sure to remember how I'm feeling when I'm angry or frustrated, so that when I am in the position in the future to do something about it, when I do have power, I can make sure I remember how I felt and use that to bring about change." Now, it was heartbreaking to hear him essentially say he felt powerless to change the injustices that he was seeing in the world. But I can certainly understand where he was coming from. We've all felt powerless at some point in times in our lives, even as adults. So you could see how a then 17-year-old might have felt. That's why I was so proud that 1 week after he turned 18, he cast his ballot in the first election that he was eligible to vote in. He finally felt he was in a position of power. Seeing my son go from powerless to taking action caused me to think about the real definition of power. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word? Is it force, control, corruption? The word often has a negative connotation, but power essentially is the ability to influence or control an outcome. Power can come from money or fear, but also from knowledge and skill or the perceived right to influence. Think entitlement. It can be meant and used for good or bad. The one type of power we can all develop is personal power. That's the type of power my son felt he lacked, but it's actually the type of power we can ultimately all possess. It's the power within us that comes from utilizing the strengths, competence, and confidence we gradually acquire throughout the course of our life. So while you may not have a fancy title, you still have power. Some of us have more influence and authority than others, but we all have power. And that power, your personal power, and the actions you take can impact your life and the lives of others in a positive or negative way, depending on how you choose to use it. I believe we should redefine our thoughts about power by recognizing the importance of our individual personal power and the importance of making decisions that use that power for good. If we all sought to make one positive action each day, even if small, think about the kind of world transformation we would see. So let's break down personal power into two concepts to see how it can help us all bring about positive change. First, we'll talk about possessing knowledge or skill, which are your strengths. Then we'll discuss having the confidence to use and share those strengths. Strength is the quality of being strong, physically or mentally, and it's also the first component to personal power. Using your personal power can be done through physical acts, such as casting your ballot in an election, just like my son did, or as an act of service, such as volunteering at a nonprofit or school. While identifying and utilizing your physical strengths can be easy, what about your mental strengths? How do you identify those, and how do those factor into your personal power? Your knowledge, ideas, and experiences are all a part of your power. For example, as a Black woman serving on a board that isn't diverse, I use my mental strengths and knowledge to ensure diverse perspectives are represented at that organization. Now, you might be wondering, how do you identify your mental strengths? Especially when you're young or in early adulthood and trying to figure out who you are or how you fit into the world. Mentors, coaches, teachers, and bosses all are great resources to help you identify and uncover your strengths. Or discovering your strengths can happen when you try something different. You'd be amazed what you learn about yourself when you try something new. Every time we take a personality test or other assessments that evaluate our aptitude or ability, they can be very helpful in identifying our strengths as well. There are quite a few free, legitimate assessments that can provide insight into your strengths. For example, I did one that told me I'm a connector, a multiplier. I think in terms of possibilities, such as, wouldn't it be great if I connected this person with that person, because together they're the perfect combination to complete a project. I'm always looking for ways to connect two or more things to make something even bigger and better. That assessment helped me to discover my love for strategy and determining how to bring resources, people, ideas, and technology together to accomplish a goal. It's one of my strengths that makes me a great marketer and that I share freely with others. Confidence is the other vital component to your personal power, and it's the feeling of self-assurance and appreciation for your qualities and your abilities. Competence is also important to being confident, because competence is the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. Confidence comes from knowing your thoughts, ideas, and opinions are valuable. It can be expressed in the way you walk, talk, or even carry yourself. Confidence can be having the courage to advocate for yourself because you understand your worth, you know the value you add, and what you deserve. It can even be advocating for others. Women are often taught to be seen and not heard, to be modest or humble, and to not really talk about our accomplishments. However, your voice and using your voice to share your ideas and experiences with others is a great way to use your personal power. So once you identify your strengths and what those are, become confident enough to share them. See, I'm confident in my competence at marketing. So much so, I do it as my day job, but I also have a business so that I can work on passion projects on my own. I even speak and write about marketing, and I also volunteer my expertise to organizations by serving on boards in a marketing capacity. I believe that doing all of those things not only makes me a great marketer, but I see it as a way for me to share my knowledge and expertise as a form of giving back. And you can too, in your own way, using your own strengths. It's really transformational when you choose to use your personal power to benefit others. Finding ways to use your strengths to bring about positive change will make you a better citizen. And that's when you are fiercely operating in your personal power. Maybe it's through teaching a course to aging adults to allow them to understand and embrace technology, or mentoring young women and sharing your knowledge in an area you've mastered so that you are helping to prepare the next generation of leaders. There are so many ways to use your physical and mental strengths and exercise your power. We are all powerful simply because we have the ability to change and influence things by using our mind and through our actions. Every time we act in service of each other by offering our talents, time, and energy, that's an act of personal power. Whether it's mentoring or donating to a charity, or volunteering for an organization that is trying to solve a world problem, and voting to help create a world that benefits us all, we each have the ability to do things that make an impact. It's up to you how you use your power to change the world. If you don't remember anything else from my talk, please remember these words from Plato, which can apply to everyone. The measure of a man is what he does with his power. Thank you.